Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy Heroes. This is Grand Arena for the alt account final week, season 28. We're going to just run through all the matches very quickly in a single video. We've been doing this for about 3 Grand Arenas now, or 3 weeks of Grand Arena now. Up to this point, perfect 6-0. We climbed from Bronzium 4 up to Bronzium 1 off of the strength of those performances. And now I was shooting to go for the next division. What is that, Chromium or Rhodium? I think it's Chromium. Doesn't go as well. The way we start out this week, we're in 3.3 million GP. I'm going to show the status of this account at this point. 3.3 million GP. Again, what we are doing with this account is showing an extreme version of what can be done through Gear 11 and going after key squads. Now, you should augment that by using relics and going after higher geared characters. I'm not doing that to prove a point and for testing purposes in the long term. My opponent here, 7.6 million GP. This is a player with 3 GLs who should be in Kyber 2 if they cared about the game mode. From their history, it was looking like they weren't going to participate. The defense, very quickly, I'm using Iden and Mother Telzin. With the Ami on Iden, down below we got Darth Revan's Geos, Padme's on the back wall, and we have Home 1 Rebel Fleet as the fleet. I did get a 4-star Ravenclaw that I'll be using next season of Grand Arena. In terms of their defense, it's something I can barely touch. So we got Padme and Geos. And then down below we got Finn and Night Sisters. This Night Sister one falls. The Jawas get to this one. So let me skip that. There's a connection error and stuff. We're just gonna skip all this. The second battle here also goes poorly. I bring in Veers, but with the no, it's not preloaded. No, I think it was preloaded. However it was, I didn't get a strong lead. We lost Veers, which means we lost the Veers unique. And you can see it when we take these characters out. We're not getting that turn meter boost. I need to move to the other screen. Let me do that. Returning to action, let me unpause. We're still getting a decent amount of stacks and good action here. These are mainly Gear 10 troopers. I think one of them might be Gear 11. But we've been limiting my resources so I can go after stronger and stronger squads, even though this is a very deserving one. Which is why I relied on it. No, we went up against Night Sisters last time. Yeah, this was a clean squad. So we're able to beat this even without the Veers Zeta coming into play. Because it's on a unique. When he's gone, it doesn't function like leadership, so the Zeta's gone. But we're able to take out the JTR team. With these Night Sisters, though, I'm kind of out of good options. Like, with the amount of relics that this guy threw on his defense, it's difficult to deal with. What I'm hoping for is that he just doesn't participate. And Empire is still a fairly safe counter. especially with Mara Jade, but I don't have the Zetas on either Palpatine or Mara Jade. So it doesn't really work as intended. This would be very safe if I did have those Zetas. I don't even remember how this goes. The relics put it a little bit more in question. Obviously, you should have a relic Vader. That should be one of the first relics, if not the first one. Here's me just double checking speed, seeing everything that's happening, because yeah, I'm trying to see if I'm safe or not. Because with the speeds on the Geos, me going second means I'm probably going to do poorly. And I made a mistake. Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah, so what you're supposed to do, obviously, is not hit the taunt, but I was not really paying attention because this is the alt account. I remember this. This was a disaster. And this is really kind of the end of match 1. I may attempt what's going on with the media player. So I'm going to show this. I'm going to cut this off soon because I just throw some teams at his defense, but this isn't an opponent I was able to do much with using the alt account. You can see at the stage of where this Treya squad is at, it's not really in a position where it can cause damage to this guy. Because I also don't have the Zetas on this Treya squad. Just passively working on their gear and abilities. They're not one of the squads I want to prioritize for Zetas. But they're still a very nice counter to have around, especially in terms of how much you see Kylo Ren and Mask lead squads. Yeah. Then I throw in, what do I throw in next? There's still enough time left in this video that I know I try a few things. Okay, so we try CLS. This is because I can get around the turn meter issues with having Han. But this there's relics on this squad. Things can get a little dangerous. I hit Ventress because of the turn meter. And I needed to cause some sacrifices anyway. Now it's the question of, can I get Daka out? Getting very close. And there we go. We cleared a territory up against an opponent with 7.6 million GP up against the 3.23. Technically, we attempt a Jedi battle here, and it's going to be the last thing I do. No, I don't. Why did I use Jedi? I mean, obviously it wasn't going to work, but why did I use Jedi? Or did I? This makes no sense. Was that the team I lost at the beginning? I thought Oh, I must have lost a Jedi team at the beginning. Alright, we're going to move on to the second match of the week. Here we are against Andy69. But reviewing the match, my opponent actually attacked, which I was hoping he wouldn't do. Because there's a reason he was in Bronzium 1 to begin with. It was because he doesn't participate. This guy is closer to me at 3.9. This is a much more reasonable match for the Bronzium division. He obviously has way more relics than this account does. But that was not an issue for week 1 and week 2. This guy, though, has a much better roster. I think I could have played it a little differently, though, if I'm remembering right. There's something, I think I make a strategic call here that I could have played it more efficiently. So we start out up against bounty hunters with troopers. Let me get this large. There we go. This is pretty safe. It's a little scarier with Django lead because of the speed boost. You have a little bit less time. And the relic difference just means that everything takes longer to get through. If I had more gear, levels, or mats on this squad, it would be much safer. But I'm like, my Piet's like level 84 or something. The Dark Trooper's level 80. We don't have maxed out abilities on everybody. Just because I'm trying to rapidly develop a number of squads at the same time, because the idea is I'm trying to leapfrog to the next good squad, and I don't want to get bogged down with a weaker squad when I could be going after Darth Revan, or in this case now moving towards like a Star Killer or a General Anakin. And that squad's plenty good. God, I love Imperial Troopers. Okay, here is where I think I could have played it a little differently. So it's not an ideal CLS squad. No Han, no Chewie, none of the regular guys who should be there. And I use my own CLS. And I think this is a mistake. I could have beat this with something else. I did not need to use CLS here. And I feel like if R2's around, maybe I would have been better off stunning R2. Just because of the annoyance factor of it. I guess at this point it's over. Yeah, we just churn through this one. Down below here, there is an Omicron on the TIE Pilot. Up here, see, this is why I think I needed to have CLS, because that squad there, that Vader lead team, CLS would have been able to beat that no problem, because Vader is slow. He needs Palpatine lead for the speed boost. And I do it in the squad arena all the time. It's how I climb in the squad arena, or I did when it was still paying out crystals, is I would use CLS, go after any of those Vader lead teams. You just stun Vader with Han to start, and then it falls apart. And using the CLS where I did means that team is going to be much more of a problem to deal with. So swap over to Pelp. Get a few stuns, spread the stagger. The Zeta would be a lot nicer because I would be getting more turn meter and being able to get things into a loop and take them out. You can see how this team is being held back a bit without that. And it's why I didn't go with the debuffs there, because I wouldn't have... I guess I would have got another turn from Tarkin. Not having the no escape Zeta means Spy isn't coming out of stealth, which not mandatory, but it is a great Zeta and makes this better because then I would have an extra turn to get those abilities out of cooldown. But I'll show you what Zetas I do have on this account probably sometime next week when I do that week 80 video for this account. This is just one I'm playing slow because there's relics and this Vader is at gear 11. Before the nerf, it was much safer. It's still fine. This I try, but these characters aren't at the right gear level. They don't have the right abilities. This resistance team just isn't there. And what you can really see from this is how important the BB-8 Zeta is. Just watching how BB-8 performs, you'll see it like right now. Not having that extra hit that you get from that BB-8 Zeta makes this team so much weaker. Yeah, and it falls apart. It's something I probably should have saved for cleanup if I needed it. But I was hoping I'd get lucky. Maybe the Omicron made a difference. I don't think so, though. This, I think, was a good call. So we've got extortion spreading. Bring in everyone for assist. Officers kind of the engine, but I think I forgot the Omicron was around because there's probably should have taken out the Omicron. This is still working pretty well and according to how this team should function. Like this team's kind of getting there even though it's largely missing Zetas, other than the B1 Zeta. Now we've got some control. I can use B1 for some recovery. Shocks on both guys. The extortion, though, it's not doing that health damage because these are the Kylos. Nice hit from Grievous. Shock messes up Kylo though, so as long as Shock is there and that healing immunity, we can make progress. This would have been the smarter team to just start off with than even attempting the Ray. Or JTR rather. And there it goes. Now for the tough part. Vader. Again, strategic error where I think if I had CLS, I can clear this, or at least I can get rid of Vader in such a way that sets me up really nicely. Vader and probably Palpatine. So I'm trying to make a tough decision. I go for Vader. I don't know if it's the call. You can. I only have one Zeta on Jedi Knight Revan, so you can see like we're not getting the buff immunity. We didn't get the stun, but I do believe it still increases cooldowns. Just feeding turn meter to Yoda. Getting close to Vader. I wonder if I should have called in strategic advantage there. See, that was very unfortunate for me. Because it was a thing where, had he not had that dodge, had I maybe used some attacks at different stages instead of like spreading buffs, that could have been a lot cleaner. Fortunately, Jolie did what Jolie does. But we're not really in a favorable position. And now we're at a point where the countdown is getting close on Nihilus. Bring some bodies back. We get, well, these aren't going to stick either. I think the debuffs. I think the unique from Treya is what gets rid of it, because the leadership Zeta is the one that does the health damage on assists. Yeah, that's why he was able to annihilate, because the debuff came off. But we got rid of the lead. We did a little bit of damage. But it's something where we gotta do work. Bring in the Old Republic just because they have the gear levels and the Zetas in order to do some damage from preparations on the Malak event. Nihilus is weak, so I want to take advantage of this, of his situation before it's too late. But the taunt, and then we get a chance to take out Cyan first, then Nihilus. Now we're in a good position. Palpatine is who I'm more scared of, because the stuns will mess things up, and he can heal. Landing that shock is going to cause problems. But even though we're going to clear this, I think we clear it in one with CLS. And I could have brought Jedi Knight Revan up against the CLS team he set, and it would have been one-shots. on both. So there was an efficient path that I could have taken that I did not. We never really land armor shreds, and this just takes a while. I'm remembering this. I'm recording this probably like a week after this occurred. I would have put this video out sooner, but I wanted to do the quarterly speculation video, the list video. There's a number of videos I wanted to get out, and this is the one I tabled. The dots do a lot of the work here. And there goes this Sith squad. Back wall, we've got some sort of fleet. Tarkin. With some nonsense. I've got a proper malevolent squad. And this won't be any issue. Why am I doing that? I don't know why I do this. I should have went after Sunfek. It's not how I normally play it. Usually Sunfek's gonna taunt, just get through him. I think what I was thinking was he's gonna taunt, let's get Buzz Droids over on Soldier, because then I don't have to use the AoE from Hyena and put a debuff onto Ahsoka and risk the Retribution. I think I could have just burned through things. And not that any of this matters. This is a safe counter. And there we go, the full clear. This is always what I'm shooting for. But moving into the final match of the week, we can see it was a loss. Lose on banners, just don't get close enough. He played it more efficiently, but you can see I barely lost 13 banners, and had I played a couple of those things differently, this one could have been a win. That CLS decision would have made all the difference. But he had a good run. Now for the final opponent, Mole Eliza. He is running an account that is 5.3. A player who should be in Chromium or Erodium. Solid roster, deep on relics. Should not be in Bronzium. Looking at the defense, see, when you get these accounts that are all over the place, like we had a 7.6 million GP player, we had a 3.9 GP player, and this guy was at what, 5.4? I don't know what is good for my account. Am I overperforming, or are these players underperforming? Like both, maybe? And technically I'm the smallest roster in this range, so I'm doing well in that sense. And we need to move large. So again, relic bounty hunters, always just going to bring troopers up against that. Armor shred over on Bosk. Let's get that started, get those stacking. I'm not going to need armor shred on Zam, so I'm not worrying about it. You can see the stacks from the Emperor's Trap are adding up. Going for the next weakest ones, just so we can make sure that Veers' unique is helping us drive even more stacks of Emperor's Trap so we can do some damage. Without the second Zeta, we don't get fear on anybody. Now going for Boba Fett. Django. Second stack on Bosk. More turn meter. And finish off Django. I love troopers. Most important squad in the game to have. Now we are in a troubling spot. We have a very solid Padme squad. I'm going to attempt something here. Really what this attempt is about seeing at what stage my Mara Jade and the rest of the squad is. Without the Zetas, and you can see these abilities aren't even leveled all the way up. We don't have the Omegas in a couple cases. This squad is not going to function as intended. And this is a counter I do on my main account, but with the main account I have all those resources put on it. And you can see I just don't even have the potency to land any debuffs. The ability block is 100% guaranteed if you're hitting Jedi. But like right here, no debuffs. And like yes, she resists if they have protection up, but in most of those cases I don't think they had protection up. The assist call is on the Omega from Mara Jade's basic. And just the squad doesn't function as it should. So that counter, which does work on the main account, does not work here. Now below. Two more squads I don't have counters for. CLS, if I had the relics, CLS versus CLS is safe. And I think I play it wrong too. I play it how I normally would. I'd go after Chewie, take out Chewie. But with R2 here, or maybe I should have stripped the turn meter from R2 instead of hitting Chewie. Because now I can't target who I want to attack. And having already lost Chupio, we just never really have a shot. And that's it. I call it there. And I did not capture any footage of the results of this match, but he full cleared me. He showed up and played and had no issues. Which, with the size of his roster and the relics he has, is exactly what he should do to me. So there is the results from that account. So we ended up going, what, 6-3 for the season. These 3-week seasons are gonna take a little bit of adjustment, but a strong start to the season with the 2 perfect weeks. Allow me to eat one this final week. But thank you for watching. Be safe out there, everyone. Be excellent to each other. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.